In the inimitable words of C. Montgomery Burns, ahoy hoy. How are you, dear boy? Sorry it's taken a couple of days to get round to getting the time to do this. Been pillar to post. Anyway, yeah, I have to say, the clarity of that Google footage, pristine. Absolutely 4K mungus, and puts to shame when I download it into the V1 app. Just doesn't cut it. I'll be surprised actually if it's even 740 or whatever it is, HD. Not even that. But yeah, anyway, I've taken had a good gander at the footage from front on. I think yeah, similar to the fact that you're not looking to make any immediate changes. But working on that, these bits and pieces pursuant to your upcoming knocks. I think I'll keep it short and sweet this time around. I think everything looking pretty peachy at setup. You know, all the shapes and bits and bobs and pieces. You know, tall left side, curve right side. You know, sort of right shoulder slightly lower than left. Weight distribution looks even, bit of flair to the lead foot, like to see that. No shaft lean forwards or back, looks like a middle iron, and neutrality is perfectly acceptable for a neutral bull flight. Obviously knowing and able to see your bull flight from down the line, nothing alarms me there. Halfway through the backswing, we've got about half a wrist hinge, we've got half a forearm rotation, and half an upper body rotation. Yeah, okay, recently sort of wanted some chest to the ground vibes, which I think we're just about clinging on to. Don't want to get the right side hyperextended too much at the end of the backswing. Look stable, look ready to transition, and duly does. Now, I'm just going to say this much. I think, you know, again, I'm still curious about... I realise you've been working on it. You did mention it in commentary. I know you've been, putting a shift in. I think, for my money, that rotation is pretty much constant now. I don't feel like the upper body rotation completely stalls, which is a real triumph. But I'm still adamant I'd like to actually see you on camera hitting me a few shots where you're doing the sort of Annika Sorenstam, Dustin Johnson, David Duval looking at the target when you hit it. Just try it, film it and try it, have a go. I know you wouldn't want to do it in the middle of a game with an important, meaningful shot and sort of have a go at it then. But I'd love to see whether it allowed your arms to extend out towards the target, certainly your left arm to stay at its full length a little bit more happily while still constantly and evenly rotating. But that left shoulder and that left elbow, I'm pretty certain if I can splice in a bit of footage where the shoulder and elbow, when we've got something like a sort of halfway through the follow-through type vibe going, maybe a little bit more than that, at this point, that left shoulder and elbow are sort of trying to hide behind you almost. I do feel like it would be so cool if we can see you keep the face and body rotating throughout. See where you're sort of keeping your face looking towards the ball. I believe that's asking a lot of your neck muscles, and that's why you sort of end up getting a little bit flippy on occasion. And we get, mishits of various types, shall we say. Okay, I like it though, I have to say. I'm going to splice in a bit of footage of the old school Drage. Well, just spent a ridiculous amount of time trying to dig up a piece of footage of Ed from front on, which might reveal a slightly different follow through, but we'll have to settle for this. You can see the left elbow disappearing behind a little bit more urgently. Almost looks like a little cut-off follow-through, sort of little pitch shot, but I believe this was a full-blooded iron shot, no less. Certainly by the look of the shape of the golf club. But yeah, that's going back a few years now. But yeah, a lot of the footage from front on is obscured, really, by the partitions on the range. But we knew this anyway. Yeah, we know what we're doing. We'll we'll keep doing what we're doing and exploring what we're exploring. And back to you from down the line. Yeah, moving on to the down the line shenanigans. Firstly, I'm struck by, on occasion, I feel like the upper sternum gets a little bit out beyond the knees and toes even. A little stooped, a little kind of excessive forward bend for me there. Look, not saying it's critical. You do seem to cope with it rather well. It doesn't seem to manifest in anything you do. Although there's a smidge of gained height there. Maybe that's why we change direction. Either you're superhumanly strong enough to contain it all, or maybe you would benefit from having your sternum a little bit more above kneecaps, slightly taller disposition, but it does vary for everyone. But I think I'll splice in a little Rory McIlroy next to you right now, and I would argue that the back of his armpits are slightly more above his knees, and maybe a tiny bit more knee flex as a consequence. We don't like straight legs because that immobilises the rotation of the body, or chiefly the legs. We don't like excessive knee flex, so we're not really sitting back in our haunches because that immobilises the legs as well and stifles rotation. And we don't like wide stances and narrow stances. Narrow stances are fine for small shots where you don't need power, but for normal shots where you are seeking full-scale shenanigans, then we want to make sure we've got stability and mobility. So I like what you're doing in all respects, width of stance and composition of stance, but a little bit stooped for me, so just watch out for that. And club head travelling almost perfectly up the biomechanical plane, hands just living. As a consequence, I think, because you've got a little bit more stooped in this image, we tend to need the ballast to sit a little bit more over the heels to balance you out. So you'll end up swinging a little flatter, I think, if you're a little bit leaning forwards at address, but not death on a stick. Delivering the club a little bit from underneath, exiting a little bit above. So swing path must have been sort of pseudo-neutral there. Can't see the numbers in the background quite perfectly, I don't think. Let me zoom in, see if I can see, because I didn't actually see if I could see. I'm just slightly too blurry. But anyway, I think got to imagine that it's a fairly neutral, what's going on here, fairly neutral swing path. And that means we can have a fairly passive club face most of the time and look forward to a lot of shots that don't really move about in the air a lot. Anyway, that'll do us for now. Hope you're having a fun time. And at time of sending, I think you're playing golf in the kingdom. So enjoy, mate, and I'll catch up with you on the other side. Keep well. Bye-bye.